private equity within their friend circle. That is where it used to be existing before the startup ecosystem was also there. That's what I was trying to refer to here. Okay, and these private equity which happens in the public limited companies, not private limited companies which are going to go public, those are the companies which go for private placement. And at that time, the private placements, in that private placement, the private equity comes into play, is what I was explaining. Were you able to explain, get anything, Rajuji? Okay. No, if somebody has any questions, please ask so that I can explain from there. Sir, I can tell you. Say like if I'm not for example, the future, the Big Bazaar has come out with a public issue, sir. Right? That is Future Group. Okay. Before they come into the public issue, what they do is, before that also they try to place that equity in the private market. Why? Because they make money in the private market. They know that they are coming with, they already got established in the market, and they want to help their own circles inside and get a premium money. Okay. So before going to the public, you see, if you look at Big Bazaar share today, I am not following equity market, but they came out with a huge premiums, 200 or 300 rupees as a premium on top of the face value. So before doing that in the public market as an IPO, what they would do is they go into the private placement market. That's a gray market, means hawala danda jaisa. Okay, they do it in the gray market. When they do it in the gray market, they may not charge the same IPO charges of 200 or 300. They might come out with 100 only premium, and that is all black money for them. They take that as a black money. They don't. It is not a white for them. Only the face value is taken as an equity. Will be shown as an equity in the books of records of the ROC. But the whatever the premium they charge in the gray market is totally taken as a black money. That's where the private equity for namesake, it is said as private equity, but there are a lot of gafla happens in the public company when they are going out for a public IPO. They do the private placement. At that time, all these things happen. So that is the fund which is coming from the family houses or individual investors who have funds and who have good connects with those type of groups or companies. Rajit? Yeah, right. Private equity. Ha. Yeah. So that's where private equity plays, and most of the time, private equity is not coming into startup ecosystem much, but there is very little which is happening in the private equity. Private equity coming into the early stage startups basically, but mostly, yes, sir. Hi, huh? Yeah, correct. So, majorly the angel investors and the VCs are actually the players who are helping the startup ecosystem. The VCs are nobody else but the same high net worth individuals, the family offices, the institutional investors, and the pension funds, LIC, the mutual funds, whatever we are investing there, right? That is also coming as VC fund. VC fund, actually, VCs are nobody else than a group of HNI individuals, family offices, and angel investors coming under one umbrella, which is called Indian Angel Network or Sequoia Capital or Matrix Partners. These are the companies which are named as venture capitalists. These people take the invest from small investors like HNIs, family offices, institutional investors. They pool that fund, make that a 500 or a 600 or a 1,000 crore fund, and that's when those guys come into the startup funding, and they do the funding at a growth stage. They don't do it at an early stage. When they do it in early stage, it is called seed funding. When they are doing it at the growth stage, that is called series round funding. And in the series round funding, the stakes are high, the equity is less given to them because the company is already matured. Company is only taking the funds because for their vertical growth. That is the reason why venture capitals play a very harsh role, and these venture capitalists are more like vultures for the startup ecosystem. They are really vultures. I would say they are vultures for the startup ecosystem. Mm, they fund in huge chunks in millions of dollars, and whatever the equity it is coming to them is not so high as in the early stage seed funding stage. Here, because the company is already matured, the company's own valuation is very high, growing very high, and these venture capitalists evaluate their valuation at a high rate, give them the funding, and how do they get their money back is whenever the company grows to the next level, there is next round of funding happens, and that is called series A, B, C, D, F, and all that. So when you go to the next rounds, the valuation grows, keeps continuously growing, and the newer investor comes, and the older investor in sometimes get an exit. Means if I invest at series round funding at a series A 1 crore, I would take an exit at series B because at that time the company has grown 10 times, and I got 10 crores for my equity whatever I have put in, and I take that 10 crores out and get out of that startup. Or there is a possibility that even at that 10 crores, my value has grown 10 crores, but I still see if I wait for another 2 or 3 years, I know that there is 100 times I can take it out. So what I do is I keep my equity still there. I allow the next investor to come in. At the same time, I say in the next coming round also, I would go for some more investment. And because I already saw the results of it, for the investment already there, I go for next round of invest in the next round of investment also as an angel, as a in LP lead partner. I invest again in the next round also. This is what the venture capital fund is, and what the venture capital, how a venture capital is formed, who are the content, who are the players in it, and how that fund is utilized. I could explain in a very short thing, and there's a lot more to it because once you get in there, it's a more than a 4 hour class. I can take that on that, but let's not go to that an extent. Let us contain here, and if somebody, Rajesh please explain them, and if somebody has questions, we can discuss. Yeah, basically, when you do investment in startup